Today we brought you a story of ancient Chinese warriors time traveling to the modern day. What is their goal, you ask? Let's find out together. Hello and welcome back to every recap ever. Today we are seeing part 1 of a Chinese movie called Iceman. Don't worry, we'll cover the second part in the next video. So let's go. In modern-day Hong Kong, some agents are secretly smuggling 3 capsules in a giant truck. The truck driver throws the polythene bag after eating the fruits. It gets stuck in the truck's tire rod and causes brake failure. The truck then falls from the bridge and falls on to an old man's house. Fortunately, the old man is safe. However, one of the capsules stops functioning and a man in an old attire breaks free. The first thing he does.
Gentlemen, if you will, look right here.
The agent sees the man and runs away in his car. Oh, and the old man is watching these events in shock. He jumps like some superhuman and lands on the bridge. He then jumps on a light pole and eventually ends up on a running bus. He is a little shocked seeing his surroundings and he doesn't seem to comprehend anything. His name is Ho Ying, and he has some kind of mysterious object with him. In the past, literally 400 years back, Ying visited a Hindu sadhu who told him about a mysterious device. It is said to be related to Hindu god, Shiva. Apparently, it is a rotating dial which acts as a time machine. The saint then gives him the linga, the key to activate the machine. Coming back to the present, Hong Kong is in the middle of Halloween night and gets into a fight with some random guys wearing costumes. Suddenly, he sees a beautiful girl. Her name is May and she is a little drunk. Meanwhile, another person from the capsule comes across some gang members. They offer him some food and he immediately likes it. So the guy's name is Saw and he is also from the past. Suddenly, police arrive at the scene and try to capture them. Saw then helps the gang members defend against them. Third person from the capsule also comes and helps them. His name is Nyehu and he is Saw's brother. On the other hand, May takes Ying to the club where she and her friends were partying. Ying looks around and starts talking with everyone. He realizes that he is indeed 400 years in the future. The next day, May wakes up and sees Ying sitting on the rooftop. She doesn't remember much about yesterday night, so she considers him a thief. Her friend comes and tries to calm her down. Ying recognizes his face from his past and attacks him. He doesn't have any connection to the past, he just has some similarities. So it turns out, in the past, someone from the Ming Empire was a spy for Japanese people. In the end, all the blame came on Ying, as if someone framed him. Even Saw and Nyehu, who were his friends, didn't believe him. Ying somehow escaped the place in the cover of an avalanche. However, Saw and Nyehu followed him. They felt betrayed and wanted to eliminate Ying. In the end, they ended up freezing in the ice and now woke up 400 years in the future. Ying explains the situation to everyone in the room. It's a bizarre story, but they believe him seeing his martial arts skills and attire. However, they can't keep him at May's house, as the people might be after him. He accepts their decision and leaves from May's house. He goes in the streets of Hong Kong and even steals someone's clothes to fit in with the society. Meanwhile, Deputy Commissioner Head, Chung, and politician Tang talk about the capsules. They were the ones smuggling these capsules. They even punished the truck driver who was carrying the capsules that night. Chung then decides to involve the police department in finding these guys. Later that night, May gets into trouble with some guys who are there for clubbing. Apparently she works as an eye candy to attract people to the club and serve them drinks. Ying comes to her help, but the situation turns worse as her manager sees her fighting the customers. May now has to pay a hefty price for this. Ying helps her by selling some of his gold belongings to the jeweler. The jeweler gets curious about the pendant he's wearing, which is worth millions. However, he declines to sell it, as it is something the emperor gifted him. Meanwhile, Saw and Nyehu become the gang leaders. Saw draws the sketch of Ying and asks his members to find him as soon as possible. May later invites Ying to live with her, but he has to give her rent. She even helps him using the internet and other things. The next day, she takes him to visit her mom at the hospital. She is suffering from a critical illness and has very little time to live. Apparently, May is doing such jobs to earn money for her mother's treatment. Ying sees her mother and reminiscence about his own mother. He then uses his martial arts acupressure techniques and makes her talk. This totally shocks May. Her mom was never able to talk and now she's talking so freely. Ying spends the next few days visiting May's mom and taking care of May. Her mom is very fond of Ying's necklace, so he promises her that one day he will give it to her. He even remembers talking to the saint back 400 years ago. The saint has already told him that something big is going to happen with him, and he needs to perform his duties no matter what. On the other hand, Chung asks his department to keep an eye on 3 people through surveillance. Apparently, he tells them that they are wanted criminals and they should be captured soon. At night, Ying goes to find some clues about what he has to do in this timeline. He stumbles upon an officer and his face gets detected by the surveillance cameras. The next day, Chung receives a message from the headquarters about spotting one of the suspects. They see him going to the old man's house. The same old man whose house was destroyed at the start. He then invites Ing inside and secretly calls the police department. Ing hears the footsteps of officers accumulating around the house and goes to the washroom. Officers then try every tactic to corner Ing, but he just tricks them and escapes from the place. He notices the guy he saw when he woke up in this world. He also remembers the car's number plate he ran off in. He quickly goes home and searches the number plate. So apparently the number is registered in the name of the same politician. Suddenly, Mei receives the news of her mom passing away. She is devastated, but they perform all the rituals, and Ing even throws his pendant with the ashes. He promised her mom to give her the pendant one day, and he fulfilled the promise. Ing comforts Mei and asks her to always keep smiling, as it would make her mom proud. Later, Ing tracks down the politician Tang in some conference. He sees Ing and quickly runs away in his car. He reaches his office and asks the security to prevent anyone from entering. Ing then uses some secret techniques and changes his face slightly. It is enough to fool the surveillance camera. He disguises himself as an officer and enters the politician's office. Ing then fixes his face again and asks the politician about why they smuggled the 3 capsules in Hong Kong. After some torture, the politician breaks the silence. So apparently he did this on Chung's order. He is after the time machine thing, and he knows that Ing has the key with him. Chung has also involved all the police force for his personal greed. The security cameras see the politician getting tortured, and they quickly send the force to capture Ling. However, Ling just jumps from the building and uses rope to safely land on the ground. Chung then comes to the scene, and he is not at all happy with the outcome. At night, Saw goes with his gang to the club and asks the girls about the person from the sketch. The girls recognize him as Ing, who's currently staying with Mei. However, Mei realizes the danger of the situation and refuses to identify him as the same person. Saw gets suspicious and he is about to attack her, but Ing comes to her rescue. The showdown between the 2 martial artists starts, and Yehu also joins them. They somehow manage to injure Ing in the fight. He even tries to run away with Mei through the window, but he falls unconscious due to the injuries. Mei then attacks Nehu with her bike, carries Ing and runs away. She takes him to the hospital, where officers find Linga in his pockets. The next day, Saw comes to the hospital to visit someone. Mei initially thinks he is again after Ing, however it turns out Nehu is also in the same hospital due to his injury. Saw sees the officers taking away Nehu and takes care of them. Mei somehow wakes Ing and he asks about the Linga. They see the officers taking away the key and follow them. Saw and Nehu also see Ing and they run after them. Ing and Mei quickly sit on their bikes and start following the officer's car. They see that the key is being given to a different guy. That guy basically works for Chung. After some chasing, they reach a bridge, where the guy attacks the other cars and blocks the road. Ing sees a truck carrying some horses and chases after him riding the horse. He manages to take down the guy. However, Saw and Nehu catch up to him. The epic showdown starts again. And trust me when I say epic. After the intense fight, Ing somehow manages to defeat Saw. Suddenly, Chung comes in the chopper and shoots Ing with the tranquilizer dart. He then throws a dart at Nehu, who charges at him to attack. Even though both of them are unable to see and fight properly, Ing saves Nehu from an incoming car. Saw sees Ing saving his brother and realizes that something is wrong here. A bus then crashes with Ing and he falls from the bridge. Saw's body moves on his own and he also jumps to save his friend. Few days go by and the rescue team tries to find their bodies in the water, but unfortunately, no luck. So they just consider them to be dead and close the search. Chung then goes to visit Nehu and he recognizes Chung from the past. Okay, so it is time to explain the plot. Apparently, Ing, Chung, Saw, and Nehu were friends in the past. They grew up together and were like brothers. They were generals for the empire and nothing could break their bond. However, someone worked with the spy and they unalives Chung's wife and his father-in-law, who was the minister. Later, all the blame came on Ing as he was there with the minister when it happened. So in the end, Ing was considered as the spy and his brothers became his enemies. Now the question is, how come Chung comes to this timeline? Few days later, Mei goes near the bridge and tries searching for Ing. She is desperately searching for him for days now and doesn't want to lose hope. She has a feeling deep down that Ing is alive somewhere. On the other side, Chung and Nehu come to the time machine in some hidden cave. They are planning to go back to the past. Will they succeed? And is Ing really dead? Stay tuned for part 2 of this movie. Meanwhile, why not subscribe and drop a like to this video? This is a 2-part movie and we will cover the second part in the next video. That's all for today and we will see you in the next video. See ya.